It's really become evident to me that the most difficult part of reclaiming lumber is the drying and storing of it. And I've been getting more and more lumber, especially now. My friend who owns a construction company has started dumping old lumber off of my yard. I'm not complaining, but I've really had to rethink and develop a good workflow for dealing with all of this. So I have. So for the longer pieces over my height, I've found that the best option for storing them is just leaning up against the wall. And they kind of dry out pretty well. But you want to make sure that you don't lean them too far, because some of the longer pieces that were like 16 feet or so that I had leaning really far, they dried in a bent way, and so I'm gonna have to like steam bend them or something. And so just make sure that when you lean them up as vertical as possible. I think it's safe to say that the workshop is at capacity for the most unorganized lumber it should probably ever have in it. I had about 2,300 square feet, all of this lumber, stacked up right here with nails in it, so it wasn't stacked very well. And it was higher than me and just a monstrous surfeit of lumber. This 1909 yellow pine has all been denailed. It took me about 4 days and 30 hours to do, but I did it. And now it can stack in what I call a lattice pile. Now I'm calling this a lattice pile because I don't actually know if anybody really stacks it this way. Whenever I see people stacking lumber, oh, I forgot a nail there. Darn it. Whenever I see people stacking lumber, usually it's outside, and so they have plenty of space. So they'll have some pieces like that, and then they'll have one or two pieces going, and then they'll have it repeat. Now this might work okay for outdoors and for bigger wood, but normally what I find is that people have like 2x2s, like specific pieces just for the horizontal pieces, and it doesn't seem very efficient, at least not efficient enough for indoors. So now the mistake I made with this stack was that I made it 2 different dimensions, and it's not square, it's rectangular. So these pieces are shorter than these pieces by far. So that meant for me to put 6 of these down, I had to have 5 of these, and in order for me to put 5 of these down, I had to put down 6 of these. And from now on, I'm only going to go with symmetrical size stacks. And so I'll just have different size stacks for different ones. Because also another problem is that if I need a bunch of these longer pieces, well, I also have to remove up the shorter pieces, which is not a good idea. But I did put a plastic bag underneath them that does seem to help stop moisture from coming up. So I've promoted this board, this particular board, to being the measuring stick. And its great honor shall be the dictator for every board, which is taller than this, shall be in the new pile up to about my height. How about that? From this stick to that will go into the new pile, and then I'll have another one for the smaller pile, like this to like here. So I've been going through all the wood. Yeah, that's a bit funky. I'm just going through and getting a nice selection of boards that will be long enough, and then I'll use this to mark out where the edges of the board should go. Fuck it, good enough. Can't be too picky with this kind of stuff. Now for the vapor barrier, I have these bags, which these are what packing peanuts came in, so I know there's a warehouse. I figure if I'm recycling wood, I might as well recycle other stuff. Now one thing to keep in mind is like in this bag, there are little perforations. So I'm going to put a couple layers down just to help inhibit as much water as possible. Looks good to me. You know what? This is going to be a table. So I'm really happy with this. I like how it turned into a nice little table. But whenever I import all of that lumber from the workbench onto here, it'll probably go up to about here, which might not be as usable. It might be better for storing, but to be honest, I probably won't want to use it very much anyway, because like I wouldn't want to do work on it because it's a bit springy and it's stuff might get lost in there, and now I just don't even want to think about something falling down between one of like the air vents in there. But it'd be good for storing things, like put my welder and all the tools and stuff on there to keep it off the ground, because there is a little bit of a moisture issue with the ground so far. That's why I'm going to slowly be putting thick plastic down and then bricks and sand underneath the bricks, so it's almost no moisture coming up. And then there's going to be a dehumidifier in here to keep everything nice and dry. Now I'm going to be going through the stuff on the workbench over there, and some of that will go in here, some of that will go in that pile. But I'm going to be ripping apart that pile like crazy, looking for the nicest pieces, because I'm going to put the nicest pieces and the ones with the finest grains and the really strongest pieces on the workbench, because I want to see those pieces instead of having them on the walls or whatever. I'm thinking about having like a covering on the workbench, like plexiglass or something, so I can see the wood, but I won't damage the wood. It's an idea. Or just really thick glass, like 1 inch thick piece of glass. That's an idea. You know what? I think I got enough room now where I can put some of that, I can bring in some of that lumber to dry on the wall. So let's do that. Forgot about this stuff. Pretty much it for today. It's good enough for one day at the least. That's my new workflow. I think I really like this lattice stack method because it does seem to work pretty well. Although I haven't tested it long enough to know for sure, but I think for an indoor use, it has the right balance between compactness and allowing it to dry. And it also allows you to have a table afterwards. Not sure what I'll do with this stuff. Like that might be more of the other method that other people use, but I might just make shelves specifically to hold this lumber and that hickory and that other stuff. But who knows? I probably should just find something to use it all for and not have it laying around. Or just find, like here's another idea. I'm getting so much wood that I might just start a wood recycling company and selling antique lumber to people. It's an idea. And I just ran out of words. So that's pretty much it. I would love to hear what you guys think about this, and thank you very much for watching. See ya.